Tyrese, how you doing, man? Listen, Tyrese, I gotta ask, what's your reaction to the number the judge put on you? It's a big number, you know? How you holding up?
I'm inspired.
You're inspired?
Yeah.
All right. Look, listen, did you think the judge was gonna throw you in jail in that moment?
I'm inspired.
You're inspired?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I'm inspired. See, it's not about me. What just happened today happens every day in the family law court system.
Okay.
Fathers have a period, which will cause us naturally to be physically away from our kids, and then that get used against us in court because the mother may be more available than you. And then, when you don't have a job, when you're struggling and you're trying to pull it together, independent of a pandemic, we get emasculated when we're at home and we're out of a job. So at the end of the day, he just pulled out the biggest light imaginable on him, his conduct, him literally making up things on the fly. What he did as a sitting judge was literally abuse of power, egregious, and all the above. And that's it, man. There is no such thing as a little boy or little girl without at some point mommy and daddy getting together to make a decision. So I'm inspired because I believe that there's going to be a law, multiple laws in place in the city of Atlanta that will refer to Gibson and Gibson. Your Honor, that's wrong. Gibson and Gibson, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be able to make reference to case law pertaining to what's going to happen. And I'll do whatever it takes and I'll spend whatever it takes to turn this all around. Not just on behalf of my daughters, but on behalf of every father who cannot afford proper representation or have any type of voice. So I'm not thinking about me. I'm really, really passionate about this. And just maybe God has created all these bad, perfect storms and scenarios for me to be a part of affecting change.
It seems odd that the lawyer gets more money than your child.
Yeah, well, that's $500,000
To the lawyer.
I had a prenuptial agreement. That's 2 law firms representing Samantha. The one and only check that she cut was 2.5 years ago for $7,500. And they just said, you don't have to pay us anything else because they were banking on a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So congratulations to them. I'm going to do whatever it takes to turn it all around.
All right, last question, man. Look, you got to pay by May 15th. Is that, you're going to appeal that? You're fighting that, obviously.
We're going to do whatever it takes. I can't go into any more specifics. I've shared all that I could share.
Sure.
But, you know, it's, we're in a place, man. And that's it.
Are you prepared to pay it if you have to?
I could afford to pay what they're asking me to pay.
Sure.
But it doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make it right.
All right?
Hi everyone, you heard it here. I'm not sure where this interview came from. It sounds like paparazzi probably called Tyrese at the airport or something, but thank you for tuning into the mix. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. Like, share, subscribe. So play back that audio just to hear what Tyrese had to say about the most recent decision by the judge. And I stand correct. This is not a divorce settlement. It's actually child support. Tyrese owed child support. So this was a child support / custody hearing, and it went to trial. Yes, Tyrese took it to trial. Wow. But before I continue with my review and commentary and reaction and opinion to this subject matter, go ahead, and those who have yet to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscription button and the notification bell. Also, I need everyone to just drop a comment. Let's drop a comment. Let's engage in the comment section. Again, I stand correct. This is a child support custody hearing, which Tyrese Gibson took to trial. So I'm going to also share a screen with you all. Like, share, subscribe to the mix. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, and also share this video. Share. Listen to this entire video from beginning to end. Again, you heard that audio. It was interviewed done a few days ago, maybe about 4 or 5 days ago, when the judge handed down the amount that Tyrese had to pay, which of course his attorneys, based off of my research, I did additional research based off of my research and review, his attorney will actually going to file a motion for a new trial first, and then if that is not granted by the judge in this case, then an appeal would be in motion by Tyrese's attorneys. But yeah, Tyrese is, he seems pretty mild. It looks like this situation came about from he's been divorced, not sure for how long, but he is divorced. But he was also ordered to pay, I think, around $10,000 a month to his ex-wife. To my understanding, Tyrese issue is his ex-wife. She's, I think, some type of psychologist or psychiatrist, mental health clinician. And to my understanding, she makes over $100,000 a year. However, Tyrese is basically stating her income is not considered in this case. In court matter was handled in Atlanta, Georgia. What are your thoughts? You heard this audio. What are your thoughts? What do you think? I believe, in my opinion, there is some truth to what Tyrese is saying, but I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Fellas, you don't have to go through the courts. You may have to play nice with the ex-wife, the ex-girlfriend, play nice so it won't get to the courts. Try to handle your affairs without the courts involved. That's the thing. You don't have to go through the courts. That's what people fail to realize. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I did not want to go through the courts, the child support courts. Essentially, my hand was forced. So I'm just sharing just a little bit of that with you all. My hand was forced when I've wrote letters and tried to be amicable as possible with the ex and say, hey, how about you pay the tuition? I pay this. We don't even have to go to court. How about if you're not working? I shouldn't have to allocate funds for a daycare provider or something like that. No, I shouldn't have to. If one parent is not working or is probably laid off or something like that, it's teamwork. It's team emotions and putting them to the side and doing what's in the best interest of the child, regardless of how you feel about one another. And doing it reasonably to not harm one another. I mean, co-parenting is co-parenting, but this doesn't have to be in the courts. No one's child support or divorce case have to go through the courts. As soon as you get the courts involved, that's where the money began. The attorneys, the judges, the filing, the fees. That's where that all begins. So it's best that people play nice so it won't end up in court. And it's best that even if you're feeling some kind of way and say you're not on a level of Tyrese, far as finance, even if you're feeling some kind of way at a normal level far as income wise, blue collar workers, feeling some kind of way about your mates, whether it be female or male, even if you feel some kind of way about your mate, you can handle it outside of the courts. You can, reasonably. You just have to take your emotions out. That's the thing. People are so emotional and upset and in their feelings, and it's like they're very prideful. And I'm not saying accept anything from your ex in terms of, okay, from a financial perspective, give some ridiculous amount for child support or child care. Do what's in the best interest of the child. That's where maturity comes into play. And then for those, don't ignore the other one. Don't ignore each other when it comes to co-parenting. But hey, the courts are involved. And that's because there's egos, there's emotions, bitterness. That's why the courts get involved. Because somebody go to court. The court don't say, hey, come to us. Somebody takes the action to go to court. The court don't call people to say, come to court. The attorneys don't call people and say, choose me. Let me handle it. No, you don't have to. You do not have to go through the courts for a divorce or child support. That's my suggestion for everyone. Avoid it at all costs. Because no one wins when the family feuds. And that's from a financial perspective. You giving all this money to the courts and to the attorneys when it could be going to the child. And then in some states, like the state of Illinois, they manage child support. If you're going through the courts, it's being managed, so they get a percentage of that. It's like, that's stupid. Try to avoid it. This could have been avoided. But I do agree with Tyrese. The whole process is unfair, but he could have worked out something more amicably with his ex-partner. But I guess Tyrese was just like, hell no, I'm not paying $10,000 a month for child support. Or however he was in court. And this is another gem. I'm trying to drop these gems on you guys, especially those who are going in court, before the court. Be as humble as possible. Sometimes you gotta kiss ass to and make somebody think that they're right. Ensure that you're getting the best outcome possible and favorable for you. Sometimes you have to kiki and kiss a little ass when it comes to the ex, whether it be the female kissing ass or the male kissing ass. Excuse my French, but I just have to say this because sometimes you have to do that. And then you go to court, you attend court in a mature manner. You're normal because judges has an immense amount of power and discretion. And yes, they do. As Tyrese said, he's making up stuff as he go along. Yes, they can. They will. They can interpret. They do. So again, it's best to not even have this in court at all. But let me go ahead and share my screen with you all to dive more into the logistics of the Tyrese child support custody settlement. I'm using TMZ, their article. Okay. As you can see, according to TMZ, $636,000 for child support and lawyer bills. And that's why I was just stating the lawyers win. They get paid off of this. So to my understanding, this case, Tyrese was ordered to pay $10,000 last year by the judge, the same judge. Tyrese, in my opinion, and based off of reports and reviews, he was very arrogant, very just cocky, and judges don't like that. And it's their world, it's their turf. That's why I stated again, it's best to handle matters like this outside of the court. Don't even get the courts involved or have an arbitrator where you're in a room or a mediator. Goodness gracious, I just be want to go off on some people. Like, this don't even have to be. I've experienced that. Court is time consuming, and I don't have Tyrese money. Court is time consuming. I have to use my vacation time. I had to go back and forth to court. Who want to do that? I didn't get reimbursed for that. My gosh, it's just stupid and silly. Just be mature about the situation. Excuse me, I get a little triggered by all of this because, again, no one wins when a family feuds. Do what's in the best interest of the child. Put the egos aside. All parties involved. Just put the egos aside. Let me continue with this article. So despite the astronomical numbers that came out today's hearing, Tyrese's attorney, Tanya Mitchell Graham, isn't too down about it. She tells TMZ they will file an appeal as soon as the judge's order is entered. She's also filed a motion for a new trial, which will be heard next month. And that means in a month of probably, I think this was written in April. Yeah, so it's written on April 25th. So that will be heard this month, motion for a new trial. For the money, Tyrese doesn't have to pay it all at once. The judge set May 15th as a due date for amount of $258,000, and that's for the child support portion, which that's first. But Tanya says that could be pushed back once their appeal is filed. So the child is getting the 200 and something in back pay, and the attorneys like 400 some thousand. Wow. Also, the judge made a point of saying Tyrese has been paying child support all along, just not the $10,000 a month. So Tyrese has been paying what he wanted to pay, the $2,200 a month. The $237,000 represents the monthly difference he owes plus interest. Yeah, they'll hit you with that interest too. The judge publicly called out before his child custody hearing is ordering him to fork over nearly $250,000 to his ex-wife and almost $400,000 to her attorney. The actor singer was in Fulton County court Tuesday to deal with ongoing child support battle with Samantha Lee Gibson. The main issue being Tyrese refusing to pay the $10K a month. Okay, he was ordered to pay last August in 2022 because he felt the judge was racist and biased against him. Also, as he stated on the stand today, Tyrese feels the $10K is excessive. He claims Samantha doesn't need that much because she makes good money on her own. So these are excerpts from the article. That's further. You can go to TMZ, but this is where that. All right. So yeah, as you can see, this is just strictly the child support. But I can't believe Tyrese took this to trial. Oh my goodness, why he just didn't try to mediate this? I'm wondering. I don't want to keep speculating, but I'm wondering, did he try to mediate this? And at least, okay, the judge said 10K, ordered 10K based off of course, his income. And to my understanding, they did consider his wife income, but Tyrese, however much he made, had made a significant amount of money for the judge to have ordered that amount, whatever formula they're using, Georgia. So I'm curious as to if the judge really was upset with how Tyrese was acting or behaving or his actions in court and really stuck it to him. Because to be honest, judges can do that, and they do that. They can, and I'm saying can, and because they have discretion, because they have power. But is it right? No, it's not. No, it's not. But what are you going to do? You're going to keep fighting this for years and years? But Tyrese has the resources, so hey, he can continue to fight this for 3, 4, 5 years if he wants to, because that's how long it is. When it comes to this court system, a lot of people, a lot of the officers of the court, clerks, everybody, they are on the same team. They have relationships with the judges, and the ball is in their court, is their turf. So good luck, Tyrese. Good luck. While he's constantly paying his attorney, how about he just humble himself and try to work out some type of mediation and say, hey, to the ex-wife, let's try to do 5K or something a month, and take this outside of court, because no one wins when a family feuds. If they can handle a mediation outside of court or work on something outside of court amicably, then the judge will modify that. Oh my gosh. I still can't believe his attorneys allow him to speak in court. This is somebody, when it comes to father's rights, no, not Tyrese. Somebody else. And I say that because I said this in my last video. And this is part 2, you guys. I said this in my last video. Tyrese is radioactive. He really is. And how the courts operate, how the judges operate, is their turf. And you're black. Good luck. Good luck then. You know, things can be done and changed eventually, years and years later. So like he said in that interview, you know, he's doing this not just for himself, but mainly for those who can't afford adequate representation. So Tyrese is on a mission. He's an activist, a father's activist now. That's what it seems like. Mr. Tyrese, the activist. And I'm not saying this in a condescending manner, but, and I get it. He's absolutely right in a lot of what he's saying. But, oh my goodness. Hope his attorney, now if he has a good attorney, then he'll see some movement. If he has an attorney who's relatively new and don't know much and don't know how to pull their weight or their power, good luck. You're going to be wrapped in this battle for some years. Good luck if you do not have a great attorney, Tyrese. Because a great attorney would know how to wheel and deal, not only with the courts, but with elected officials in the area to get things moving and get the ball rolling. Or speak to someone behind the scenes. But if your attorney, your legal counsel does not have that pull or that power, then this is going to be wrapped up. And I get it. But I'm just trying to tell you all the game when it comes to child support court. For the fathers, this is my suggestion. When you go to court. And for the women too. Because look at Dwayne Wade's ex-wife. I believe mostly everything what Dwayne Wade's ex-wife said. You all have to Google her, and there's reports out there that she was crazy. The lady not. She wasn't crazy. Anyway, she was being vindictive, bitter, and all of that. Her emotions was in play. So that's why things didn't work out in her favor. When you're in these child support custody courts, they care nothing about the parents. They looking at the best interest of the child, period, point blank. And you go in there and you piss the judge off, everything is downhill from there. Because the judge, like I stated, has an immense amount of power. Unfortunately, they have discretion. That's how the court system is here in the United States of America, whether it be civil or criminal. But this is a civil matter, so it's going to take a little bit more off. I can see if it was a criminal matter, then that would be a different ballpark in terms of judges and their ethical behavior and their conduct in court. But I feel Tyrese. I understand him. But Tyrese just, oh my goodness, try to be, again, people, females and males, do not allow your child support or divorce get to court, because they getting the money. I don't care how much money you got. And when you have the money like Tyrese, your attorney's bill is going to be high. But if you have income like me, regular person, I'm still going to have to pay, but it won't be in the hundreds of thousands. But it still would be an amount that I would be struggling to pay, or my ex would be struggling to pay. And then the only way the state can handle your case is if you under a certain income level. And then they're not going to handle it effectively if the state is handling your case. They could care less. So that's just how this works. So yes, this right here, let me give you some tips. Number 1, try to handle it outside of court, period. That's number 1. Try to come up with some type of settlement, some type of agreement outside of court. You'll save yourself time and money, period. Number 2, okay? If the egos are flying and you can't reach an agreement, and you have to go to court, somebody have to take somebody to court civilly for child support custody, family court, go in there with some damn sense. Be reasonable in your thinking. Don't be so egotistical. Humble yourself. Say less. And let me repeat that, say less. And if you have an attorney, express your grievances to your attorney. Even if it's to the side where nobody can hear you, and you amped up or you're a little irritated, at least your attorney, you could express that to your attorney. And then when you go in court, bam, action. This is like you in a movie. Then you put on a scene and be the most humble, the most reasonable thinking person, the most seemingly fair person in the world, and you're saying less. That's number 2. I know I'm saying a lot, but that's number 2. Number 3, try to do a mediation. Just try alternatives. Number 4, try to reach an agreement that's beneficial to all parties. More importantly, the child. Even if one party say, okay, hey, I'll pay the tuition directly at the best school, boom. Tyrese could have did that. This is just an example. I'll pay tuition at this school, and then I'll pay the medical expenses directly to this insurance agency so my child can have the best health care. And then I'll have money, and then the support for your household, here's the amount. Also, he could have worked some type of agreement out. I don't know what type of educational school. Fathers, get involved. I don't care what your schedule look like. Get involved. Show up. Meaning, hey, if the ex sends you some school information, this is school they want, this and that, you do your research, or have your people do your research, Tyrese. Have them do their research and see what other schools that are probably less expensive, cost-wise, but the quality of education is there. So that way the tuition is reasonable and fair, and you have a say so as well. But if you don't fight for at least that, some just trying to be reasonable, of course it's going, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, you guys. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You have to be normal when you're going to child support and custody court. Look at Usher's ex-wife. She lost custody. Don't you? I'm telling you. So that's what I'm saying with Tyrese. I don't know what he did in court, because that's Atlanta, Georgia. Usher has custody of his kids from his ex-wife. Ludacris has custody of his daughter from the ex, I think, allegedly stripper he was dealing with, where he was engaged to his now wife, but he ended up having a side baby or something, allegedly, or whatever. But Ludacris has full custody of his daughter. And he has other kids with his new wife, with his wife. So I'm not, and Ludacris lives in Georgia too. So I'm not understanding what Tyrese didn't do. And I'm not going to say I'm not understanding. I can understand. He went there just like he from California. Like he from Hollywood, when you can't do that in a southern town. See, Usher and Ludacris, whatever they did, they played it right. They let their attorneys do whatever. They played it right. You go to court, you shut up, you let your good attorney do the talking, all of that. I just, oh my goodness. And we're going to go to Dwayne Wade. He's in the state of Florida. And his ex-wife, a Chicagoan. They got married in, Chicago, Illinois. So she actually had custody, I believe, of the kids at first. But her antics that she was pulling, her emotions being involved, her I'm going to say this, her bitterness. And I was rooting for her. But, and I felt her in terms of his unfairness. But that's not how you handle it when it comes to child support and custody court. And I believe the reason why she ended up losing custody is she withheld the kids from Dwayne Wade. So that's how he ended up with custody of them. You know, you can't withhold, because he was fighting for visitation and all of that. But his ex-wife, to my understanding, she made that a little difficult. And I'm not saying he probably didn't do something or this and that, or was waiting on her to just err, because she was probably emotional and upset with how things went about with their relationship, their marriage. And to my understanding, they were broken. They were just separated, but he went on like he was single, but they were not divorced yet. So I think that crushed her, that hurt her, and so many other things took place, to my understanding. This is all in the media reports and stuff. I'm just kind of going off of memory, but you'll have to research that yourself. So again, and based off of my experience, when you go into court, you have to be reasonable. My biggest flex and gloat, and I'm saying this not to be braggadocious or anything, is to sit back and watch a person crash in court. Because that's what will happen if they're acting a fool. And before you know it, the judge is on the other person's side, which was my side in my experience. I didn't want all of that. But the person, like I said, when you go to court, you better say less. I already knew how to act. I already knew what and what not to say. I already knew the court decorum. I already knew how to, because it's like you have to play the game just to get through all of that. And did I want to be there? Absolutely not. Could have been at work. I didn't get reimbursed the time that I took off to attend court. So to me, that was unfair. But like, share, subscribe to the mix. Like, share, subscribe. I hope you all found this information well, the tips that I gave, suggestions when you're handling a child support custody type of situation. Just do whatever's possible to avoid getting the courts involved. Like I said, the courts are not coming to divorced and ex-baby mamas and ex-baby daddies' houses saying, hey, come to court and handle your case. Somebody getting upset, irritated that somebody is not helping, or someone's upset that somebody moved on and they hurt. Somebody's upset that somebody is not pulling their weights financially, and that's what usually happens, and you end up in court. That's the thing. So avoid all of that. Handle it outside of court, maturely if possible, with your emotions out of the picture. With your emotions out of the picture. Handle it maturely and most reasonably as possible. Because again, when the courts are involved, that's money out of your pocket. I don't care what level of income you're at, you're paying and you're going to pay. And then if you are at a lower level income, good luck with going through the courts, because they don't really care. They don't. When it's a state case, as they call it, a state. The state is handling it. They don't really care in terms of child support and custody. They don't. They'll follow the formula, follow the standards. They're not trying to do nothing extra. They're not trying to mediate this and that. And they're telling you, oh, this is, when it really, you can still really try to settle, even if the state is handling the case and you don't have a private attorney. So, but yeah, like, share, subscribe to the mix. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. This all can be avoided, people, if everyone would just kind of take their emotions out of the picture and handle things maturely as possible for the best interest of the child. These kids didn't ask to be here. Pick their parents chose them. So the best thing you can do, and I'm just sharing my experience, is to handle it appropriately outside of court, because you're going to pay. And it's going to be time consuming. But I'm not knocking Tyrese. I hear his grievances. He is absolutely correct when it comes to the courts and the judges. But I already know that. They make up stuff. They interpret the law the way they do. They get frustrated. They may have a bad day. I've even seen in some criminal court cases where you show up at court, not me per se, but I was there with somebody else, whatever. You show up at court. If the judge is irritated, the next person that comes in, the judge is taking his frustration out on that defendant or that person and throwing a book at them. That's not right. That's not fair. But they do that, even in criminal cases. I've heard this from people. They say with some guys locked up or incarcerated, not in prison, but in jail and just going through the process, they be like, wow, the judge upset. Somebody would come back in the back or whatever. This is from what I heard. Man, the judge upset. He locking everybody up today. The judge could have had a bad night. Issues with their wife, with his wife. Issues with probably lost a golf game or a bet. I'm telling you, this how it go. Is it right? Absolutely not. Read the book Crook County. I still haven't gotten through that book, but it'll tell you how the court system work and how they treat people, which is incredibly unfair. They just do what they want to do. Read Crook County, and it's based off I think a paralegal story about how the Chicago Cook County operates in their judicial system, which is unfair and biased towards those who are more impoverished areas, low-income areas, Black and Latino people, how they treat them in court and through the different criminal court cases, regardless if you're young or old. So I'm not surprised what Tyrese said, but this is a civil matter, and in my opinion, it should not have went to trial. This should have been handled, settled outside of court, behind the scenes, or mediated, or some type of settlement reached, Tyrese could have been like, hey, Samantha, I get, play nice. Kiki, humble yourself. Don't be upset. Play nice. And that's how you get some good movement out of people, or a different outcome. Where's the charisma? Play that game. And she could have possibly settled for $5,000, and that overrode the judge, because it would have been like, hey, the attorney's like, hey, our people came to an agreement, judge. So we're looking at $5,000, and the judge would have made sure that Samantha agreed. No one coerced her, this and that. It was her own mind frame that agreed to it. And the judge would have assured that Tyrese wasn't, threatening her or vice versa. You get what I'm saying. And the judge would have wiped away the $10,000. If Tyrese would have been, I haven't heard anything from his ex-wife, so that's why I'm saying Tyrese, because he's apparently he's the only one doing the talking in court, interviews. Shut the hell up and just do it. Oh my gosh, you guys, this didn't have to be. I mean, I understand his grievance with the courts, with certain judges. I get it. I totally get it. And he's black and this and that. But this is not the time to be throwing all of that around. It's like, this is chess, not checkers, Tyrese. He could have handled this way differently and would have gotten a better outcome, in my opinion. Like I said, this is Atlanta, Georgia, where Ludacris has custody of his child. And Ludacris makes money too. Usher has custody of his kids, and he makes money too. So come on now. Drop a comment, you guys. What are your thoughts on a Tyrese interview, what he stated? What are your thoughts on this TMZ article, which reported that Tyrese actually had to pay $10,000 in child support, but he was paying what he wanted to pay, less than that. So, and if Tyrese, to my understanding, and I don't know how it is in Atlanta, Georgia, but I know in Illinois, if there's some type of hardship with the father, and this is a gem that I'm about to drop, you can request a modification. Yeah, you have to go back to court, but you can request a modification. Or you can do it outside of court, and it could be sent to a judge, so you won't even have to appear in court. It's just certain ways you can do this. And so they'll go by whatever income, because it's being modified. Child support is being modified based on your income, reduction of income. That's a gem I'm giving you guys. You can have your child support modified if your income has changed. That's all I'm saying. You can. Because you're not making the amount of money that you were making when it was ordered, when the order was put in and approved by the judge. Your income has changed. And you will have to submit some financials and all of that, showing proof of that. And a judge will reevaluate that. And likely, there's a strong chance it will be modified. As long as you act reasonable, have your proof, act sane, you're good. And your ex have to deal with that. Period. It's called a modification. You can get it modified. Your child support modified. So, and that's after an order is entered. It can be modified and approved by the judge. So, again, this, in my opinion, could have been avoided. Tyrese, I guess, like he said, they'll use this as case law for reference. Look at Tyrese learning case laws. He know, I told you guys, citing cases, that's the key. That case law as a reference, as an example. Hey, courts in Gibson versus Gibson, this is what happened with the child support. Oh my God, look at Tyrese going to law school a little bit, learning the process, but he shouldn't have been his ass on the stand speaking. Period. His attorney seems like she's a probably, and I say this respectfully, probably not as legally strong in certain areas with dealing with clients. Like some judges or other attorneys be like, can you control your client? Not control in a sense of like like they're inferior to you, or you like their master, but control in terms of having your client to think reasonably before acting or wanting to go in a different direction. And I get is being paid by their client, so they do lots of instances. They do sometimes have to do what their client asks them to do. But at the same time, of course, they can't do anything illegally, and they'll have to report that to the courts if that's the case. But in this instant, when I say they have to control their client, and it's just keeping your client at bay, and being confident as an attorney in who you are, and allowing that to resonate with your client, so your client can be trusting that you are operating in their best interest. The client won't even suggest that they speak at court, because apparently the client don't think that the attorney is that strong enough for them to prevail probably in their case. So they're like, let me speak. I think I need to speak and put this on a record, So again, the attorneys have to control their clients. and when I say that, I would say you have to make sure your client is confident in your abilities. That way your client won't be speaking. I think I heard a clip with Tyrese attorney speaking at court, and she just do not sound, oh gosh, she doesn't sound like she has a lot of tenacity in her. So, and I say that respectfully, but yeah. So of course she's going to file a motion for a new trial, and I'm sure the judge will deny it. And then she'll file her appeal. Is it excessive? Absolutely, the amount, because the amount, I can see the amount for the child, but the amount of attorney fees, oh my goodness. So that is ridiculous about that. In my last video on Tyrese, so I did speak about attorney's fees. I don't know how they come up with that. And especially when you are a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, or 100,000-aire, for some reason, once attorneys know that you make a certain amount of income, for some reason their fees and their work become just astronomical. And I've seen that in the profession that I'm in, dealing with certain clients and attorneys working for, and this was like many moons ago, former employer. And I'm like, and I said that before in my last video, I had to go over the attorney's office accounting and billing for our file that they were handling. And I'm just like, they charge ridiculously. If they make a phone call, then if there's a court fee, it's the court fee, and then it's the action that the attorney took to go to the court or to draft a document, or the paralegal, and this amount of hours. So you got paralegal charges, then you got the attorney charges. It can, before you know it, especially if a case is not cut and dry and it goes to trial, that's a lot of money. And that's one thing too, Tyrese let that go to trial. When you go to trial, it's more money. It's more money. That's even in a criminal case. When you go to trial, it's ridiculously more. And I know this from experience, through not personally, but other people's or people I'm connected with, from when it comes to criminal and even in civil cases. And I've had experience with civil cases career-wise. And yes, if it's not a cut and dry case, you're fine. It's like a flat fee, maybe. I'm just gonna throw a number out there: $3,000, $4,000. Boom, handle everything. But if it becomes litigated, meaning you going to trial, you're gonna pay up over $3,000. You're gonna pay $7,000 to $8,000 or $10,000, whether it be criminal or civil. And with criminal, it depends on what type of charges, how many charges, what type of case. Man, but I can't tell you how the attorneys come up with they fees. I can't. I think it should be regulated. That's just my opinion. But hey, I'm just a fish in the sea. That's just my opinion. But like, share, subscribe to the mix. Like, share, subscribe. I hope you all find this information well. resonated with me because I can definitely relate when it comes to legal, because that is my background, and also I can relate from a personal perspective. And as I stated, Tyrese should have shut up and not went to trial and just tried to handle all of this outside of court. Trust and believe this outcome would have been different. And I urge and encourage anyone, if you go through a breakup, whatever the case may be, even with the Tiger Woods situation, they need to handle this outside of court. Humble yourself. Tiger Woods can handle his case as well outside of court. Settle with that lady and let it be gone. Just settle. Just settle. But I get it. Humility when it comes to men with money and status, certain type of power, they'll throw the middle finger up real quick and like, okay, I got none but time and money to go back and forth to court just to not get. So they would rather give the court and attorneys more money than to give that person that they have an issue with that money. And that's what I see in Tyrese. So not to say that he'd rather give the courts and attorneys money, but that's essentially what he did, because of course I still think it's astronomical. But if he was thinking rationally, he would have just put a stop to it before it even got out of hand and just paid what the courts ordered, or he could have did a modification. That was it. Handle it that way. Modify it. Instead of just paying what the heck you want to pay, modify it. File a modification. It's like, who is his attorney? But like, share, subscribe to the mix. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. I thank you all for tuning in. And again, I hope you learned something from this, because I'm really passionate when it comes to this. I have like a lot of experience in this area, and professionally and personally. And I just want to share a little snippet of my experience and how hopefully it can help others navigate this process. And modification of child support agreements can always be conducted and done. It can always be done. I know in the state of Illinois, I'm quite sure this is possibly, I believe maybe Atlanta has it where you can modify. I wouldn't think that other states don't have or give either parent the opportunity to modify. Even I can modify mine. Even anybody can modify theirs. Like, if I was the one who found out, just say for instance, if I find out that my ex is bringing in $400,000 a year, I can go and have it modified and get more support. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. It's real petty and time consuming. And I in my mind, I allow God to handle certain things. I'm blessed, and I know that God will open up an opportunity and will handle that person, because you're not getting over. So like, share, subscribe to the mix. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. I thank you all. Drop a comment. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.